On behalf of the Communications Committee, please join me in welcoming Stuart Kaufman, the Managing Director with Portage Point Partners. Given this time of social distancing, unfortunately, we haven't been able to get it together in person, but wanted to take this opportunity to give you a chance, as one of our valued platinum sponsors, to introduce yourself and tell us more about your firm. Stu, thanks so much for joining me, and it's great to have an opportunity to speak with you.
Kevin, it's great to see you and great to speak with you as well.
Thanks. So why don't you give me a little background on Portage Point Partners?
Sure. So Portage Point Partners is probably about a 4-year-old firm. We focus, primarily in restructuring, turnaround, and performance improvement. We have approximately close to 30 people, primarily in Chicago, but we have folks out on the West Coast in San Francisco and New York, out east. And as I said, we're focused on performance improvement, turnaround restructuring, board services. And most of our service line and our client work is focused on what we call value creation. So in addition to the traditional turnaround and restructuring type services where we can provide Chapter 11 support, all the services around what we call transfer of value, transfer from one constituent to another in distress situation. We also try to focus on value creation, which is providing operating performance improvement services in the context of a distress situation. So, sales and marketing, go to market strategy analysis and improvement, operational improvement, organizational reviews, cost out opportunities, not just from a headcount perspective, but other costs. So, we're really focused from a service offering. Our lens is how do we provide value in the context of a distress situation. And that's how we go to market. And that's how we focus our client work.
And there being 4 of you, you really get a hands-on, you know all your clients and your clients know everyone at the firm, I presume. You're all working together and kind of a close-knit team,
Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're up to 30 people now across the country. So,
okay.
So we started about 4 years ago with about.
4 years ago. There we go. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. So we started about 4 years ago. I joined the firm 2 years ago. We were about 6 folks, and now we're approaching 30 people now. So we've had success, and thankfully, our clients and partners have put a lot of faith in us, and as a result, it's allowed us to grow. And combined with the faith I think our clients are putting in us, and together with the value we try and provide in all of our situations, I think it's combined to allow us to grow the firm, and it's been successful.
Yeah, that's quite an impressive growth. And you said you joined about 2 years ago.
I joined.
Is there any sort of focus to your practice specifically, or are you, somewhat of a generalist? Or?
Sort of a generalist. My background certainly is, spent the last 15 years in the restructuring industry. Before that, I was in banking and industry before that. But certainly in my background is sort of finance and operations and banking, came out of that world. So I focus my practice, I'd say right now 50-50 between, traditional turnaround restructuring work, either in Chapter 11 or out, as well as performance improvement. Most of, because of my background, in particular, the way we built the firm is, we work with clients both on the large end, where we have clients that are, several $1 billion in debt, to clients who are $50 to $60 million in debt. And because of the way we built the firm, we really are able to scale up for larger transactions and larger companies, and also be affordable and effective in the mid-market. So, we try and we've tried, and so far it's been successful, building the firm in such a way that we can, from an intellectual perspective, have the people who can do larger deals and more complex situations, but also, we can also do smaller transactions and be more economical and compete effectively in the mid-market.
And I think flexibility in that sorts of in that way is particularly helpful, and particularly at this time of our lives with everything that's going on. Can you tell me a little bit about how Portage has responded to the the pandemic and shutdown of the economy, and what we're now seeing is kind of a slow restart. What are you guys seeing, and how did you guys respond?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, we look at, in my mind, it's sort of two parts, right? With the advent of COVID and what's happened and from a health perspective, we certainly have seen a big impact across the economy, as I'm sure you understand, and everyone involved in TMA understands. So what we've seen is with COVID is it sort of accelerated a lot of things that were happening before. We certainly saw certain sectors in the economy that were suffering or experiencing some sort of decline. The automotive space, aerospace, pharma, healthcare, retail. So sort of with COVID, it sort of accelerated all that, and so we're starting to see a lot of activity in that. And now, from a broader perspective, obviously the economy is being impacted. So we're seeing work across not just those industries I mentioned, but other industries. And then from a firm perspective, it's obviously presents some challenges, which I'm sure you've experienced at your firm too. We have an office in Chicago. We try and focus on making sure that as we built the firm, to have a culture where we're in the office together and collaborative and interacting with each other to understand, just to build a culture, but also to talk about client work and just roadblocks and how to create value. And in this time, obviously no one's at the office. So what we've tried to do, and I'm sure you've been faced with it too, is how do you maintain contact with the team? So we're very conscious about having weekly Zoom calls as a team. We try and have social events at least a couple times every couple of weeks as a team, again, just to get together and just interact with each other. And also from a team perspective, making sure that we're in constant contact throughout the day on issues we're faced with clients and those sorts of things. So we're trying to institutionalize virtual contact as much as we can. It's no doubt it's a challenge, but we're trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy in this strange time.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I know that feeling well, and thankfully we were able to have this virtual sort of connection with people and make new connections. Mm-hmm. So do you think this is going to be part of the norm going forward? Do you think we'll start working from home more often? I mean, I know someone in your line, I do too. I like to go to the client's office and go meet them, and that personal interaction is important. What are you kind of seeing in that respect? And then also kind of industry-wise, where do you see us going in the future? Everyone's saying there's going to be another spike in the fall. Are we all running inside? I'm not asking you to play Dr. Fauci, but kind of from our industry perspective, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think with respect to your first question, we've had to adapt, as I'm sure you have, to working remotely with clients. In particular, new clients. In our industry and what we do, trust with our clients is so important, and developing that sort of interpersonal relationship is so key for them to trust you in a time which is, frankly, stressful in a distressed situation, right? Management and the staff are going through a very stressful time at a company, and potentially dealing with a formal or informal restructuring of some kind. So, developing that interpersonal relationship is so key. So, we've started to work through that. How do you develop that virtually? So, we have standing calls with our clients every day, Zoom calls every day with our clients, just to get in front of them face to face, like you and I are doing, making sure we're interacting as much as we can in that way, and to develop that interpersonal relationship. And then, to answer your second question going forward, it's, I think I'm sure you're going to experience this too, is, we're going to have to figure out a way to do some sort of blend of it at home and at the office. I think it's just the new norm, is that people are going to have to be able to be effective whether they're at home or at the office or on the road. I mean, fortunately, like we're on the road so much, we're used to doing remote stuff, so it's not a big deal. But I do think from particularly for a firm like us, as we grow, developing that internal culture will be key. So we'll have to find ways to do both in-person and virtual culture and team building. So it'll be a challenge, but I think we'll just have to use technology and time to actually get there. So I think it's a good question. I don't know how the answer yet. I don't know. I don't think anybody does.
I don't think any of us do. I agree with that. Well, I just wanted to thank you for your time this morning, Stu. I really appreciate it. Loved learning more about Portage Point, and want to thank you and Portage Point's continued support for TMA, and look forward to meeting you online again, but hopefully in person sooner rather than later. So thank you again.
Thanks, Kevin. Pleasure meeting you. Thanks for your time.
You too.